Hey, good morning. Happy Monday. Welcome to Life Online. We looked at prayer, petition, as we're talking about digging deep into the disciplines of life. We did that in Sunday celebration. I want to talk to you about this verse that comes from Hebrews chapter 11, verse 6. But without faith it is impossible to please God, for he who comes to God must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of those who diligently seek him. I don't know if you ascribe that name to God much, rewarder. By the way, this is New King James Version. Other versions that we usually use, just he rewards those who diligently seek him. In other words, when we come to God, we have to approach him in faith. That's where it starts. It's impossible to please him unless we come and we believe. But notice what the author of Hebrews does. It ascribes that he, in this belief, that we believe that he is, yes, exists, but note that we believe that he is the rewarder of those who diligently seek him. In other words, this whole experience of walking with God and coming to make our requests known to him, to petition him, it's not just with some unrealistic idea of that maybe he will hear us, but instead it is an absolute confidence that we have his ear. And not only will he hear us, but he will reward us. And by the way, this verse really is linked and tied into verse 5. By faith Enoch was taken away so that he did not see death, and was not found because God had taken him. For before he was taken, he had this testimony that he pleased God. Enoch is the one that is commended for faith. And in fact, if you head with me, Genesis chapter 5, Enoch had lived 65 years. He's 65 years old. Remember, they have an extended life during this time. But he became the father of Methuselah. Methuselah is the oldest man who ever lived. And then it says, after he became the father of Methuselah, Enoch walked faithfully with God 300 years. And he had other sons and daughters. And altogether, Enoch lived a total of 365 years. Enoch walked faithfully with God. Then he was no more, because God took him. So you find Enoch has a boy, Methuselah. Methuselah has Lamech. And Lamech has a guy that is a familiar name to you. His name was Noah. Enoch walked with God 300 years. Just this relationship with God. Prayer was his orientation in life. And one day he just heads off walking with God, and he just never comes back home because he was not. God took him. Can you imagine as evil continued to increase, and with the longevity of life, God limits man's life and starts to bring it down to 120 years. But there's the great-grandson of Enoch that I'm sure had heard the story about his great-grandfather, Noah, in the days when evil seems to be so rampant and has taken over the human race. And yet Noah is faithful to God, and I can't help but think that somehow this Enoch's life made a huge impact on him, and he went after righteousness as a result of it. Walk with God like that. Walk with God and understand that your walk with him, he is the rewarder. By the way, reward, it has to do with recompense for, yes, good, but also for evil. And most often it suggests benefit, or even the idea of compensation. In other words, you will receive your reward. And by the way, there is this idea of, yes, consequences and compensation, but there's this idea that the consequences of action that are felt in this life there's a direct response, and God closes the loop. So the idea is that there's the wholeness of the action of our faith and the action of our life, the action of our prayer and petitions to God. It is never fully concluded until God closes the loop and he comes with the reward. So as you seek him today, as you pray to him, he is the rewarder. As we diligently seek after him, it's worth walking with him. There's no better way in all of life for he always closes the loop, whether it's in this life or whether it's in the life to come, all of eternity, but he will close the loop to honor our faith. So walk with him like that, would you? And as you do that, look to Jesus. He's the author and he's the finisher. He wraps it up. He perfects our faith. He'll reward us, who for the joy who was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame. And notice how God closed that loop and brought the reward for Jesus. He exalted him, planted him right next to at his right hand, and he sat down at the right hand of the throne of God, the place of all authority. This is a good life for us. So walk with him today. Have an awesome, awesome day. Love you much.